Okay, first up this week is going to be He Who Fights with Monsters, a LitRPG adventure written by Shirtaloon, aka Travis Deverell. It is 868 pages, a massive novel for just $6.99. It's available on Kindle Limited, and here's the author's description. In the wake of an unexpected homecoming, Jason questions if there's still a place for him in the world he left behind. Forced to confront what he has become his time away, he feels more alien than ever. But his old world is hiding secrets that he never knew. As he starts to unravel what has been hidden from him his entire life, he discovers that not only might he fit in better than ever, but he may be exactly what the world needs. There you go. Short and sweet and to the point. I've actually read all the other books in this series up until this point, but I got busy and I've actually started to get like eye strain from reading too many screens. And so I actually picked this whole one up as an audiobook. So this section review of the audiobook version of this in particular. And I don't know if it was just the way that this audiobook came out. I don't know if the other audiobooks are as good, but I really like this. I actually thought this particular entry in the series was great. And I don't use the term lightly. It's getting an 8 out of 10 for me, spoilers. But it really turned out to be a great audiobook experience. The stellar narrator just added an extra level of amazingness to the story, especially because it is a very dialogue-heavy story this time around. It has less action, which is a complaint from some reviewers, actually. But for me, like, I didn't really mind because the audiobook narrator made each one of those characters come to life, and especially Taika, if I'm saying it right, Taika. It just good voices all around. I really enjoyed how well the voice acting was done. It made the dialogue really enjoyable, helped pass the time, and the character development within the story really made it, for me at least, the noticeably less action in the story, at least compared to the other books in the series. So for me, made a great experience. The story itself, I actually appreciated that the background of the story, where it takes place, actually changes at the end of book 3 in the series, and the last book rather, book 3. The final state, the main character was a little in limbo, and it's kind of a cliffhanger. And at the very beginning of book number 4, they make it clear he's been brought back to Earth. This isn't spoilery; it's in the novel description, but he's back to Earth, and he has some potential powers, so he chooses to accept them. And most of the story revolves around him, returning to Earth, what that means for his interactions with his family, especially because he has retained all the powers that he's learned. And so he's essentially kind of a super powered person with levels and experiences and all those, ranks and everything and all those powers. And what that means, because he's on the other world, he'd killed a ton of people to survive and to live. And he developed a survival strategy that meant him, pushing the limits. Otherwise, the other guy was going to do so. And so a lot of the story revolves around him sort of readjusting his mindset to Earth standards and what that means for how he deals with things and interacts with not only the people who may be potentially enemies, but also the people he cares about, his family. And that magic and Earth may not be as mundane or empty as he thought it was. Again, not spoilery in the novel description. And there are other story threads, but I'm not going to spoil them because they're entertaining. But those things were enough for me, at least, with some very widely spaced, interspirited action scenes to be a really entertaining story. Again, noting that there are a couple reviews that said that this is, again, dialogue heavy, action light, and that's absolutely true. For some people, that's going to be a deal breaker. They might not enjoy the story as much, especially if you're reading as an ebook. But for me, because this might be just the audiobook edition of it, but the dialogue was very funny and entertaining, a lot more so than I think it was when I read it. And I might just listen to audiobook because they're coming out at the same time now as the ebook. I think the dialogue just like not, picks up, and not for me at least. So, but that just made my experience with the audiobook in this particular, edition of the story, because it is dialogue heavy. Overall for me, great story. Giving it, again, an 8 out of 10. So that's He Who Fights with Monsters, book number 4, with a score of 8 out of 10.